You ever notice how people kind of get their backs up when you tell them what to do? But then, if you just ask for their opinion, suddenly they're all ears? It's such a small shift, but it has this huge impact on whether or not you can persuade someone. So let's break down the psychology of why asking is just so much more powerful than telling.
Telling and asking might seem pretty similar on the surface, but inside our brains, they are worlds apart. A direct statement can feel like an order, right? And our natural instinct is to push back, to prove we're independent. A question, though, a question is an invitation. It signals that our thoughts actually matter, and it pulls us into a conversation instead of a confrontation.
And look, this isn't just some theory, it's actually backed by science. Let's dive into this really powerful experiment that used mock jurors to see how changing just a few words could literally alter someone's entire future.
Okay, so here's the setup. Researchers brought in a bunch of college students to act as a jury. They were given the case of a young man named Johnny who had committed unintentional second-degree murder. The students' job was simple, but it was really serious. They had to decide how long Johnny's sentence should be.
So, the researchers split the student jurors into two groups. The first group heard a really definitive statement from Johnny's lawyer. It was just presented as a simple fact. Johnny is a very gentle boy. That's it. A straightforward, no-nonsense sentence. But the second group, they heard a slight twist. The lawyer asked them, "Don't you think Johnny is a very gentle boy?" See the difference there? It's so subtle, but it completely changes the game. It's not a command to believe something anymore. It's an invitation to agree. So you have to wonder, how much of a difference could one tiny change in wording really make? Did telling the jury what to think lead to a different outcome than asking them what they thought? Well, let's find out.
And the results? Honestly, they were staggering. The group that was simply asked for their opinion gave Johnny a much, much lighter sentence. The group that was told he was gentle, they came down way harder on him. That one little question changed everything.
So why? Why did this happen? What is going on in our heads that makes us so much more open to a question than a statement? The answer is all about two powerful competing forces in our minds. It all comes down to this idea of coercion versus autonomy. Coercion is that feeling of being pushed or pressured or backed into a corner. We are absolutely hardwired to resist that feeling. Autonomy, on the other hand, is that deep human need for control, for the power to make our own choices. And let's be honest, it feels really, really good.
And this brings us right back to that experiment. A statement like Johnny is gentle feels like coercion, like someone is telling you what you have to think. But a question like, don't you think he's gentle? That gives you the power. It gives you the autonomy to come to that conclusion all by yourself.
Okay, so a neat trick for a courtroom, but how does this actually apply to us? Let's take a look at how this plays out in our everyday lives, in sales, in negotiations, or even just talking with friends and family. I mean, imagine a salesperson using those high-pressure tactics, saying stuff like, "You need to decide now or you're going to lose out." Your defenses just shoot straight up, right? It feels so coercive. Now compare that to a totally different approach. Don't you think this is a really good product? See? The second version doesn't push, it invites. It lets you think about it for yourself. And this is really the magic of using questions. By asking instead of telling, you're literally handing the power to decide over to the other person. This actually builds their confidence in whatever choice they're making, and it gives them this great sense of satisfaction because they feel like they made the decision without being pushed into it. So if there's anything to remember, it's this. A statement demands that you agree with it, but a question invites you to think about it. And when someone reflects and comes to a conclusion on their own, they own that idea. It's not something you've pushed on them anymore, it's something they've discovered. So, the next time you really want to persuade someone, don't just state your case like it's a fact. Try framing it as a question. Ask to empower, because when you empower someone to choose for themselves, that's when you truly, genuinely persuade.